obviously bank holiday here in Australia, and I've got to sit here in this stupid chair and do a daft video for this mob. Full of the cold as well, but no, I need to still do a video. Right, better get it over with. Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday's video on Celtic AM, and we've got a lot to talk about, and I'm in a great mood. Right, make sure you edit that bit out. Okay, a wee bit of patter to start the video. Always start with a joke, as David Brent would say. But also, let's just get on with this because I do actually have plans today. We're starting with a rumour. Yeah, but it's a rumour that may well have legs. And the person it's about certainly has legs and he never stops using them. Daizen Maeda we're talking about. Without further ado, let me just go to my phone and bring up WhatsApp. Yep, it's a WhatsApp whopper, as we like to call them. One of those forwarded many times messages. This is a gutter level of reporting you would never have got in 67 Hail Hail. I don't know what it says about Celtic AM. But anyway, exclusive from tonight's audience with Brendan. When Daizen got injured, he was out for the season. They decided to send him back to Japan. The doctor wanted more scans to see the extent of the injury and work out a treatment plan. The doc said they had never seen such a quick recovery from that type of injury. Had another yesterday and a further improvement. He trained on the grass today, probably too early for Sunday, but if this week goes well, he'll be back in full training next week. Now, I've been unable to confirm or deny whether there was actually an event with Brendan Rodgers held on Wednesday night. Could well be the case. I think these things happen fairly regularly with like investors and maybe like people who have those fancy padded seats at Celtic Park. I think they get invited along to these kind of things and we never really hear about them unless something interesting goes down, and often it's to do with injuries. So basically this is a rumour, and the thing about rumours is that they're often not based on any truth at all. However, this I've been doing a little bit of digging on two popular Celtic forums, and this has been spoken about on both, and certainly a few people confirming that Rodgers did say that Maeda was back running and that he was optimistic about his chances of a quick-ish return. One poster actually said that the original plan had been to send Maeda back to Japan, but that had now changed. Again, this could be people pretending to be ITK, that's in the know, or simply exaggerating what Brendan Rodgers said. But let's just imagine that all of this is true, and I don't know, I get a feeling there might be something in this. Maybe someone watching this was at the event and can confirm. Oh no, Hamish, you're going to have loads of people now just lying in the comments. Let's just imagine that Daizen Maeda has made some sort of remarkable recovery and he could be in line for a return in the next few weeks or so. And ideally for the derby in 2.5 weeks, it would be a monumental boost. This is someone who has basically had been ruled out of the rest of the season by Brendan Rodgers. Rodgers had effectively said that. Maeda last played actually against Rangers at Ibrox 2.5 weeks ago. So, as I say, to get him back, really at any stage this season would be a real boost that nobody had saw coming at all. To have him back for the next derby in 2.5 weeks' time, I think would be absolutely massive. I just think he's such an important player in these fixtures. He kind of negates Rangers' biggest threat, certainly from open play, in James Tavernier, and has proven to be really effective in these games. One of those players that actually plays his best football in the biggest kind of games in Scotland. So yeah, to get him back would be huge. I think in other fixtures as well though, I think it's simplistic just to look at the derbies. I think having Maeda back to play a part in the run-in on that left-hand side, where he's clearly a much better option than Yang for me, and Palma as well at the moment. I think would be huge. But we'll have to wait and see if there is anything in this. But I feel like something is going on, unless a few people are taking part in a work, as we would call it in the industry. Brendan Rodgers certainly did make an appearance yesterday on Celtic TV. I can confirm that because I've actually seen it. He didn't speak about Dies and Maeda in that interview, but he did talk about the preparations for the penalty shootout at the weekend. He said that the regular penalty takers were told each to take a couple of penalties every day in the lead up. The advice to penalty takers at Celtic is to pick a spot and commit. Lewis Palmer. No, he did take his penalty well at the weekend, to be fair. It just highlights to me how when people say penalty shootouts are lotteries, that for me it's just a nonsense. This is something that clearly Celtic, have put work into. They're such weird things, penalty shootouts, because for 99% of the time they're not relevant, they're not used at all. But every 4 years or so, one of these comes up and they matter so much. They mean everything. And thankfully things went our way at the weekend. Rodgers also said how he's seen how well Joe Hart hits penalties in training and that he had no hesitation putting him on the fifth one. He said there's a lot of learning to be done from the weekend, and it's easy to discard semi-finals because you've just got through to the final, but plenty, he says, where Celtic can improve. So I think that's positive as well. Will he make changes for this weekend, though? There's certainly a few things that I think should be on his mind. Plenty of complimentary chat about Dundee this weekend. They're obviously having a great season, but they've really struggled against us. I think it's 13-1 on aggregate over 3 matches. However, we do have recent evidence of them playing pretty well at home, holding a Rangers side who, albeit are not at the level of us, but it still proves that Dens Park can be a tough place to go. Final thing I wanted to chat about today is Greg Taylor confirming that talks over a new contract for him have been put on hold until the end of the season. A number of the media outlets in Scotland reporting this last night. Taylor quoted as saying, "I have 1 year left, but there have been no talks. I have just been focused on finishing the season strongly. We will see what comes of it. I just want to do as well as I can for Celtic. There will always be competition, and that is the focus of being a Celtic player. I just want to take care of these next 6 games, and then everything else will take care of itself." Now, Taylor's contract is up at the end of next season, so the summer of 2025. He signed that contract extension a couple of months after Ange Postecoglou came to the club. While I do think that the club should be looking for a new first choice left back in the summer, and I can't believe we didn't sign one in either of the last 2 transfer windows, I would also be for giving Greg Taylor a new contract. I think, as I say, while I wouldn't necessarily want him to be first choice next season, he's clearly a very capable squad player, and that may be doing him a disservice. I really quite like Greg Taylor as a person. I like what he brings to the club and the way he acts and what he brings to the team as well. I just personally think, like a lot of supporters think, we should be signing a first choice left back, someone maybe with a bit more dynamism, a bit like Alistair Johnson on the other side. It's not that Taylor's like slow, but just a bit more like ability on the ball. We're never going to get a Kieran Tierney, I don't think, but someone who has that ability to maybe go past a player and drive the team forward. Taylor doesn't tend to do that as much. So yeah, that's a discussion we can have, further down the line. I think in terms of this stuff and Taylor's new contract, I'd be for giving him a new deal, having him around. I think he's a good player who could play, 15, 20 games a season. Backup, if you want to use that term, but playing a fair bit as well. I just think if we really want to progress in Europe, I'd want, as I say, someone of a higher level signed. I feel like that's fair comment all round. He's clearly a big presence in the dressing room, Greg Taylor as well. He's one of the leaders in there. So I think important that we keep people like that around. But as I say, for about the 10th time now, I'd be looking for a first team left back to be signed. The other point there, I think, is that it's good that the club are focused on, finishing this season and achieving what we have to achieve, and things like contract renewals can be left until the summer. And I think that's absolutely fine. I just hope that in the background, the recruitment team know who we're going to move for, or have a good idea with regards to a goalkeeper, a left back, a few other positions as well. I think that's important. We can't get to the end of the season and then suddenly be going around with our hair on fire going, we need a goalkeeper, Joe Hart's left, and Scott Bain, could we play him? We need to have a plan here. But I'm happy for them to do that in the background, and the focus of Brendan Rodgers and the players to be on winning these 2 trophies before the end of the season. Right, I'm away.